What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Inside D3 show. I'm your host, Morgan Cheatham, back with a brand new intro for you guys. If you're one of our new viewers, then thank you for checking us out for the first time. If you're one of our day one viewers, then we appreciate you for sticking around since the beginning. So before we get started today, make sure you check us out on our website, InsideD3.com. Follow us on our Instagram and Twitter at D3Inside. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Inside D3 Athletics, where you can find all of our episodes as well. If you happen to be on the go and can't watch our videos, you can listen to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and Anchor. Also, be sure to check out the Mascot of the Week with Sam and any news that might drop in the meantime as well. And we got some good stuff planned for you guys for the summer, so we're definitely looking forward to that as well. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys, so hopefully you enjoy the show. Okay, so Bridgett Finn is with us today. She is a senior soccer player at Lebanon Valley College in Annville, Pennsylvania. She is of the Middle Atlantic Conference, or the MAC, my old conference. And she is also a part of the MAC SAAC and the National SAAC. So, Bridgett, welcome. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Hey, Morgan. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I'm doing great. Enjoying the weather while it's warm and not downpouring for once.
Yeah, really, though. It's crazy. But let's just talk a little bit about, your background and just, your life growing up, some of the things you're involved in right now, some of the things you were involved in the past. Just give us a little summary of all of those.
Yeah, of course. So I actually grew up in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Lived there my whole life. I was always really involved in sports growing up. I played soccer, softball, gymnastics for a little bit. I ran track and field in high school. So with that experience, I always knew I wanted to be involved in athletics in the future. So at the time in high school, I knew I wanted to be in physical therapy, and I was pretty set on it. So I took that into college, and I was a sport and exercise physiology major at DeSales. Kind of refined my career search a little bit. I knew I wanted to be in athletics, but not as much rehabilitation anymore. So that's kind of what led me to Lebanon Valley. With that, I'm on the soccer team at LVC. I'm in SAAC at LVC, like you mentioned, for the MAC and the National SAAC. So that's a blessing to be a part of that and being a voice for student athletes. I'm also in the National Society of Leadership and Success at LVC. So I'm a community service chair, so I get to organize a lot of those events and be really visible in volunteerism, which is awesome. And then I'm also a Valley ambassador and peer tutor at LVC.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. What do you say is your favorite one out of those three, or some of the really fun experiences you've had with them?
Well, I can't beat SAAC because it's just awesome to be with other student athletes and get to go to conferences around the nation. It's awesome. But I love Valley Ambassador because I get to meet incoming students at LVC, whether they're student athletes or not, and I get to show them around and talk to them. And I think I'm pretty good at persuading people to come to LVC because I actually did transfer as well. So, it's hard to make that decision. It's a big decision to make where you want to go to college and what you want to do. But I get to tell my story of how it didn't work out for me the first time and I transferred and it all worked out. So there's other options if it doesn't work out.
Yeah. So let's talk about, that transfer move. Obviously DeSales is within the same conference as LVC. So that's really unique in the fact that a lot of people really don't move from conference to conference like that. So talk a little bit about, what was the reasoning behind that move and how was the transition?
Yeah. So when I first was looking to go to college, I didn't really look at conferences too much. I wasn't like, oh, this is the MAC. I really want to be in the MAC. I didn't know too much about it. I knew the MAC was big and there were a lot of schools in Eastern Pennsylvania and Central Pennsylvania that were in the conference. Didn't know too much about it. So when I was at DeSales, being in the MAC was awesome. I was like, all right, this is really cool. We have a huge conference. It's one of the oldest conferences. It was an awesome experience. So I loved DeSales. It was a great school. I really liked it. But then after the first semester, I actually had to write a paper throughout the semester of why I wanted to be a physical therapist. And throughout the semester, I was doing research and I was getting more knowledge about being a physical therapist and realized maybe this isn't the path for me. So I knew I wanted to be in athletics, but I wanted to be in athletics all the time and not just with athletes once in a while. So I kind of refined my career search and went towards athletic training. So just to be honest, the only reason I didn't choose LVC to start is because it was 10 minutes down the road from my house.
Oh, wow.
So that was a big deciding factor for me of like, I did love LVC, but it was like, that was home to me. Like, I grew up there. I had soccer camps there growing up. It was like my backyard. And I had career fairs there in high school. It was like, I went there all the time. So I kind of wanted something new. So I loved DeSales that I could, it was only an hour and a half away. It had the soccer D3 experience that I wanted. But as I refined my career search, I knew that LVC had a 5-year Masters of Athletic Training program. And I didn't mind being closer to home at that point. I'm really close to my family, so being closer to home was not a problem for me. So it was not an easy decision at all to transfer. However, the fact that I was not more comfortable, but I was very comfortable at LVC, and I knew they had that program. The only thing was, you're not really allowed to transfer in that program unless you're a rare instance. So I got to talking with some of the professors in the program while I was still at DeSales, just saying, is it possible to transfer? Can I do this? And once I found out that since I was only away for 1 semester, I could transfer, then I was clear to talk to the soccer coach at LVC, who I actually met prior because I was looking at that school. Originally, it was my number 2 choice. So since I was able to kind of have that same experience at LVC in the MAC conference, that now that I knew was an awesome conference, and I knew I loved the Division III experience, that was a no-brainer for me because the program was awesome, and I knew that was just what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it's so weird because, like, I literally lived 15 minutes from my school, like, in Stevenson. So it was weird to, like, feel like I was still at home but still in college at the same time. Like, it's such a weird feeling. But I'm glad that you found your choice. And I want to know, like, was it weird? What did you guys ever play against the Sales first off?
We did. So that's kind of
Yeah.
one of the moments that we played at LVC my freshman year. So I was on DeSales team playing at LVC's field, which was so weird to me because a lot of my friends on my team at DeSales like never really went to LVC, but the whole bus ride there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is weird because a lot of my family was coming since it's right at home. And I was so excited to see them, but then I was also nervous to play against the teammates that I would have had. And I knew a lot of the girls that played at LVC when I was at DeSales that I now play with, because a lot of people are local. We played club and travel soccer together in high school, so there's so many emotions going to play there. And then when we played, that was the first game that I started this freshman year at LVC. So my coach knew it was a big game to me, so he put me on the starting roster, which is awesome. It really boosted my confidence, and it was a cool experience, but really weird because going into the locker room and wearing the DeSales jersey at LVC kind of made me realize that was like the first hint that was like, maybe you should go to LVC. So yeah, I'm glad that we had that experience.
That's hilarious. So let's talk a little bit about, your involvement with SAAC. I want to know, how did you get started with it? And then, what has that experience been like so far?
Yeah, so actually at DeSales, the way that they chose SAAC representatives was they have an underclassman and an older, like a junior or senior as a SAAC reps. So I think our SAAC rep was a junior, which meant my coach had to choose a freshman. So I was actually blessed that my coach chose me to be the SAAC rep at DeSales. So when I transferred, that was one of the things I had to sacrifice and give up. And it was really hard because I was really excited to be in SAAC, and it was awesome being that leader in the athletics community there. But after I transferred that spring, I was at LVC now my freshman year. I knew that one of our SAAC reps was a senior. So I had a conversation with my coach, and I asked her, I said, I was a SAAC rep at DeSales. I really loved doing that. I would love to have the opportunity to have that position again. And she said yes. So that was awesome. I was able to stay in SAAC at LVC. And then I think sophomore year, we had a conference for the MAC at DeSales. So it's weird. I kept ending up at DeSales. But one of our executive board members couldn't make it. So our advisor asked if I wanted to fill in. So I was like, sure, I'll go. And I was just a sophomore. I wasn't on the board yet. And then while I was at DeSales at that MAC SAAC meeting, they were voting for executive board positions for the next year for the MAC SAAC. So I wasn't even on the board at LVC, but a lot of the people that were there, I had a few other classmates that came with me from LVC to that meeting, and they were like, hey, you should go for vice president. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my first meeting. I don't have much involvement in SAAC. Like I'm in SAAC at LVC, but I was like, you really think I should go for it? And not many people were, so I was like, all right, I'll go for it. I got some confidence, and they voted me vice president as a MAC as a sophomore. So I was really nervous. I was like, what did I get into? I don't really know too much about what this role entails, but a year and a half later, I was just voted president of the MAC. And then last fall of junior year, the position was open for national SAAC. So again, I didn't really know much about national SAAC. What was that? Who was in it? How do you get in it? But the member for the MAC was actually graduating and his term was over. So my advisor was like, hey, here's the application if you're interested. So I read through it and I filled it out, and I was like, that looks awesome. And I got it. I got the position for national SAAC for the conference. So I'm the primary member of the MAC SAAC, and the my secondary conference is the ODAC, Old Dominion Athletic Conference. So I didn't know much about that conference either, but now that I have met some people and had learned a little bit about it, it's an awesome conference to be a part of as well. So far I was able to attend the convention in January. That was in Anaheim. I met so many awesome people. My term actually only began right when I came home from the convention, so I wasn't technically a part of National SAAC yet, but I was able to sit in on all the meetings and meet everyone and be a part of it. So it was an awesome experience. Unfortunately, our meetings for the next year and a half or so are going to be virtual, so I won't be able to see everyone at National SAAC again until January, but we communicate very often on our group meetings, and it's just nice having that group of other fellow student athlete leaders and being able to be that voice for not just your campus or your conference, but on a national level. It's just been an awesome experience and something I'll take with me forever, because I do, like I said, want to be a part of athletics. And I did refine my career search again from athletic training, and I'm in exercise science now. So with that, I want to stay in the athletics field and work at a college or university in the future. So all of this experience has just been building me up for a great future, I think.
Definitely. It's funny that you said that you were talking about that MAC SAC meeting, because I'm pretty sure JT and I were there. So we might have witnessed history, Bridget. We might have seen the start of your SAC career right
That's
there.
awesome.
That's hilarious. So I
Yeah,
want to
I
talk.
didn't know
Yeah,
that. I
go ahead.
didn't really know anyone at that meeting, so it's funny to hear that you were there.
Yeah, it's weird. So let's talk about just the fact that, the season is coming up, or what may be a season, we hope. But I just want to know, how are you kind of preparing for, first off, your senior year, and then second, if there is a potential season, how are you preparing for either one of those?
Yeah, I would say I'm actually tackling this summer and this season harder than I have in the past. Not that I didn't train as hard in the past summers or I wasn't as excited, but since it is my last year, like I'm going all in. We haven't really won any championships at LVC anytime recently, the past couple decades, but like I have high hopes, and I set the standard high for not just myself but my team, and I just want to carry that through for senior year. And again, be a leader on my team and on my campus. I'm really excited, but I'm also emotional and sad that this is my last year. Thankfully, the national SAC term doesn't end until January after I graduate, so I get to stay on there for a little bit. But it is really hard to understand that what if our season doesn't happen, or what if we can only have conference play, or there's so many different scenarios. But try not to, I mean, I'm thinking about it, but I'm trying not to think about it too much, because I do want to just think as positive as I can and have the most awesome season we can, even if it is cut a couple games short. Just trying to be the positive leader on my team and keeping everyone focused. And if we can only practice a couple times a week or whatever happens, like it's still awesome. We have to be grateful for it. And I think that's part of the D3 experience. Is it's not all about our sport. We still have so many other things. We have our team, but we also have other clubs on campus. We have our academics to focus on too. So as much as that would be absolutely terrible to lose our season, I think we still have a lot of things to be grateful for.
Yeah, I definitely agree. just have fun with it. It's going to be
Yeah,
a weird experience, I'm sure, but if you just make the most out of it, I think you'll be okay.
agreed.
Yeah. So my last question for you: what is the reason that you chose Division III?
Why D3? Well, like I said, at the time I wasn't all knowledgeable about the MAC and what it entailed, but now that I'm in it and when I transferred, I was happy to go to another MAC school and be in the Division III. I just think it's awesome to be able to really focus on academics and put so much time into it, but then also have dedicated teammates that want the same goals as you and aren't just playing just for fun. We still are competing for championships, and I think that's what makes it so special. And building those relationships with your team and your professors and coaches in the athletic department, and just having that community at a small school, I think, is why I love D3 so much.
Well, Bridgett, thank you so much for hopping on with us. We appreciate it. Good luck for your senior season. Hopefully you guys have one. If not, I'm sure you'll have fun regardless. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Morgan. It's been an honor. I really appreciate it.
So that does it for another episode of the Inside D3 Show. Thank you guys again for checking in. Stay tuned for more episodes. We drop them every Wednesday on all of our platforms. Also, stay connected on all of our platforms for any stories that might drop during the week as well. And also stay locked in for the Mascot of the Week with Sam V-Rock right after this, and you do not want to miss that. So, once again, I'm Morgan Cheatham. This is the Inside D3 Show, and we are signing off.